my hobby seem to be a kryptonite to women. You say this, but I think we're finally at a really nice space in our online world where, quote unquote, you know, women are getting into men's hobbies, but it's always been like, and I've talked about it, where I grew up next to a card shop and I would go in and I would get little cards, and there was a room in the back where people painted and did Warhammer. But alas, I do remember asking my family if I could do it. And I cannot judge how my parents raised me, correct? You have to remember they are from the old country and they are Slavic. But to give you an example, you know, without going too much into it, but at like 12, I was, I had a little, you know, they were maybe closer to 13, but you know, I had a little bit of booty, you know, I was pretty much my height now, which is very tall. I basically looked and I dressed. I don't understand what happened. Whenever one day I'll get more comfy with showing pictures, I dressed so provocatively for some reason at 13, 14, and it was fine. And my parents just let me do it, right? I think also sometimes maybe I brought clothes in and changed without them realizing, but whatever. So I remember specifically saying that I wanted to go and paint in the back with like where the men were painting and stuff like that. And my father, God bless his soul, I'm not here to judge if what he did was correct or incorrect, but he was like, no, you are not allowed to be in a room with grown men for anything. And I remember I was upset and I was crying. I was like, what do you mean? Like, we're just there for hobby and to play cards and to do stuff. But it was a no. It was absolutely a no. And the thing is, my dad couldn't be in that room with us because he was in a wheelchair. And that store, like, they had stairs. So for him, he's like, I can go into that store. You are not allowed to be in that room painting or doing things there without me, and I can't go there. But I remember I pulled a really big fit and I was like, what do you mean I'm not allowed? I'm a teenager, I can make my own decisions. But you know, if I was a parent with a 13-year-old of anything, like, yeah, I probably would have been like, no, you can't go out with, like, you know, the worst part about, I do need to say to those men, the worst part is I really need y'all to understand that those poor men were probably so sweet, shy, and nerdy, and all they did was paint Warhammer figurines. But I was gonna show up there with my low-cut top because I had just grown breasts, and I was so goddamn excited to grow breasts. I was gonna show up in a hot pink top with my breasts out because I didn't understand that, like, the way I'm happy about my breasts, everybody else is happy about. I would have been a menace. And then you know what's worse? I'm telling you guys right now, I would have been the creep. I would have fallen in love with some freaking like random 37-year-old while I was 14. And I would have just been like, come on, let's go on a date. Like, I would have been I am the predator. That would have been me. I would have been the guy. It was me. I was the problem. I would have been the problem because I did it, like, I wouldn't have understood, right? Like, you have to remember, I'm like 13 or 14 at this point, right? I'm in a place with, like, I would not have understood. I was just like, in my head, I would have been like, wow, maybe we're in love. I was a crazy teenager. I would have been so bad. You're like, and I know, like, everyone's first reaction, right, is oh my goodness, Matara, you know, your dad was so good. It takes one creepy guy. I'm telling you right now, those men in that store were probably like the shyest, sweetest little nerds, 35 to 45, painting Warhammer, and I would have showed up 13, 14, low cut top, taller than most of them. Being like, so what's an appropriate age to lose your virginity? He was saving them from me. Rango, I was pretty tall. I was pretty tall in Canada at my big age. Thank you, Corner. Yeah, it's true, Henge. Mom, this creepy girl keeps flirting with me. Son, you're 40. I was the menace. But yeah, so I completely get it, right? With my flesh father basically but anyway, this whole story, when I was 17, I flirted with my 24-year-old coworker, right? Just like, I didn't know any better. I just need y'all to know, please don't cancel me for the things like I was 13 like 30 years ago. Okay. Please don't cancel me for the things I did 30 years ago. My brain wasn't fully developed, but I just didn't know any better. Yeah, I'd be 16 flirting with a 30-year-old because I was like, oh, he's pretty. Maybe he'll fall in love with me. I didn't know any better. I didn't know any better. We all did this kind of stuff. But anyway, the reason I started this whole kind of story about Warhammer and everything was because somebody said that their hobbies are like anti-kryptonite to women. And I was saying how actually I feel like now that it's become more acceptable to get into hobbies that were kind of known as guy hobbies, right? Like 30 years ago, there's a lot of stuff that was considered a guy hobby. Now, women are doing Legos and Warhammer and Magic the Gathering, and it's fine. But definitely, 30 years ago, it was not that way. So I'm just letting y'all know that you having a nerdy hobby is great. Find a nerd with the same hobby. How long did it take you to learn better? Some say I'm still learning. Phantom. Some say I'm still learning to be better. I think eventually you just kind of start figuring things out. There's definitely something that is really annoying in teenagers that I experienced as an extroverted teenager was this like annoying brazenness where it's like, when I was younger, I thought I knew better. Now that I'm older, I realize that I'm a stupid idiot who doesn't know anything. But when I was younger, I was a bigger stupid idiot who didn't know anything, but I thought I knew everything. Right, Rombly? It's getting so much more acceptable. Unless she's a loyalist to a corpse god. No. We love Papa Nurgle. Miniatures are the sluttiest thing anyone can do. There we go. You thought you were that girl at 16. Oh, me too, Apple. Oh my God. Oh. When I go out in like sweatpants and a sweatshirt now, I think I'm like, wow, I have beaten the algorithm. I am living life. No, I think you guys misunderstood. That person says, unless she's a loyalist to a corpse god, and I said, I would never. The only god I am a loyalist to is Papa Nurgle. I am not loyal to Big E. He's a piece of shit. He's a corpse sitting on a throne. I said I am only loyal to Papa Nurgle. I'm a heretic. Hello? Anila, you keep spamming the same thing, so I'm gonna give you an hour timeout, okay? Thank you. Okay, now the marinated combo makes sense, right? I just like being marinated. But yeah, those poor sweet nerdy men, they were saved from me. My father put the hammer down and he saved them from me. I think fermented is a great word. I think clammy, moist, marinated, fermented. Highlight, it's actually a lo-fi version of Night Cover, which is my song. I don't like the word clammy. I like the word clammy. Okay, I'll stop. I'm so sorry, everybody. I'm so sorry. Musky. I like musky. Musky's good. Hell yeah, Beast. I'll take a look at it after. Thank you. You feel like marinade is an erotic word? Wait. You're my kind of people. Y'all know that I'm a cannibal. I told you all. I love to feast on the flesh. So, oh, that's so funny. Is it cannibalism if you're not human? I mean, I am inside a human woman, but yeah. There's just no other way that I could say the word, like, I feel that the word cannibalism already entails to y'all what I want to entail. But shout out to the smell fetish you're gonna give someone. Oh, honey. You know, I think people can develop their own fetishes just fine. If I help out a bit, good, but I'm not doing it on purpose. You probably picked up a bunch of fetishes from watching television, books, your teacher wearing a short skirt that one time. Come on. I'm hoping that by the time you get into my stream in YouTube, you're already, frontal lobe developed 25 and up. But if not, then hey. Exactly. Vor is different than cannibalism. Cannibalism feels more risque and forbidden. How did you know about my teacher? I never told us all. Oh, I know. Why 25? Because allegedly that's when your frontal lobe develops. Who's up developing their lobe? You never realize that your kinks are made from your experiences. Got a lot to learn, kiddo. Masked men. I do have a lot of my gay male friends are really into masked men. I've noticed. Sorry for that. I've noticed. I wonder if it's because like they had a crush on Zorro or Tuxedo Mask or something. I wonder. Masked how exactly? It might be from wrestling. You're right. Maybe the mysterious vibe. Yup. Here, less than 25 years old, letting Matara influence my fetishes. Oh no, I sure hope I don't develop any fetishes from my bug woman. That's a dumb pop sci myth. Most of the studies about development just stop around that age. Due to neuroplasticity, the brain really never stops changing. True. I did remember reading a book about the neuroplasticity of the brain, and they talked about how London cab drivers had like a different way that their brain, when they looked at their brain, it was different because they had to remember all the freaking how to drive in London. So yeah. I'm just letting y'all know your fetishes are downloading fetishes as we speak. I was surprised when at MomoCon you joked about me writing smut. What do you mean joke? I fully assumed you were writing smut. I assume that I am here on your other monitor inspiring you to write about marinated women as she woke up from sleep, marinated in sweat, her skin glistening in the moonlight. New content being downloaded into our marinated frontal lobe. Somebody stop her! True Peeper. Also, great name for that. I know it's Peeper Leviathan for Subnautica, but that's funny that you're like, we don't download RAM, we download fetishes. Really, Peeper? Tell me more. Tell me more. I think it's doing the opposite of a fetish. If ever you're with a woman or man or anyone in bed, whatever, and I just imagine the next time you all hear the word marinated out in public, you're gonna get activated like a sleeper agent. Like Kill Bill is gonna be like, you're gonna go and it's like, oh, would you like those steaks marinated? And you're like, what did you say? What did you call me? Or you come over to your grandma's house, she's like, I marinated those onions overnight. You're like, what did you say? You what? Grandma, you whore. All right, let me go get a seltzer. I forgot to get, those seltzers are hitting hard today. I haven't drank a drop of alcohol yet. That's the worst part. I'm sober. I think this is just me like releasing all the stress from my workday. I have to wonder if certain fetishes are genetically ingrained in us. Oh my goodness, Freud would have a field day as this. As in, we are genetically predisposed to have certain fetishes. That's so interesting. Wait a second. So you're saying I got no, because I like to think that I made myself this bad. I like to think that I am I hate when people say, Matara, you have daddy issues or mommy issues. Stop blaming my parents for the work that I've done. I worked so damn hard to be this messy, okay? You think I was just born like this? You think I didn't do this on purpose? No. My marinating, my kinks. I have marinated my damn self. You have your mother's eyes and your father's. That's such a bad line. Imagine if ever somebody writes a book about having coitus with the mother and the daughter, or the father and the son. You can be like, wow, he had his mother's eyes and his father's fetishes. That's a banger of a line. Yeah. I am this messed up on purpose. I did that to myself. Don't blame my parents. Okay, Grandma. It's time for you to go to sleep forever. Here's my gun. Am I sure I'm not drunk? I promise I haven't had a drop yet. To be honest, can't know if you're into something if you don't exist. You just happen to unearth the genetic kinks first. The thing is, spiders, when it comes to you being raised a certain way, there's also like this whole idea of, okay, so for example, I was raised in a household that had very strong women in it, and I was encouraged to be a strong woman and to disagree. Even like I get punished, but even if I get punished, my family will be like, it's good that you stood up for yourself. You're still in trouble because you broke, I don't know, this jar, but it's good that you stood up for yourself, you know? I have a joke about my dad where it's like, when my dad died, he left me debt and the bags under my eyes. Because for some reason, when I look at younger photos of myself, I didn't have like my bags that badly. But after he passed away, now I have to say he let me debt and a bunch of fetishes. God, that's disgusting. I can't say that. Mosh, thank you for subscribing. So anyway, back to your traits. So because I was in an environment where in school I was encouraged to be like, I wonder how much of my extroversion would be less extroverted. Like imagine if growing up, every time I did extroverted things, I was praised for it. Down to the point, I think I've talked about it before. This is a very Slavic thing. This is why you all need to understand why I don't fear anybody. Okay. When I was younger and my parents had guests over, they would make me stand up on a chair and sing the Ukrainian national anthem, or they would make me recite poetry on top of the chair to our guests. And it wasn't just like, today she went to the zoo. It was like, today Stephanie went to the zoo. But what animal was in the zoo, you might ask? This is why now I do not care about embarrassing things. I have been embarrassed my whole life. I have grown up embarrassed. I am not embarrassed anymore. Okay? I am not embarrassed anymore, my loves. The embarrassment was, but it makes me wonder, right? Like if I instead was grown up in a house where if every time I spoke up, I got, for example, maybe I got hit, right? Or maybe I would have been punished or something like that. Would I then theoretically grow up to be less extroverted, less brazen, less sure of myself, right? Or would I still have this like pretty, because again, my personality, I don't know, can you beat it out of me? I don't know. So it's definitely one of those where there's definitely some stuff that I feel has to do with your character, because I also have a lot of friends who are close in age with their siblings, and them and their siblings are so vastly different. Even down to like dealing with addiction or anything like that. Or for example, I have friends whose mother committed suicide when they were young, and the way the two sisters dealt with it is super different. One sister kind of took it as like, I'm going to do the best in life. I'm going to do everything. Like both sisters have this story of my mom abandoned me by, ending her life early. But one sister took that story into everyone will always abandon me and nobody loves me. And then the other sister is like, okay, well, I got to be a safe person for people so they won't abandon me. I really do wonder if like, it depends on what culture you grew up in. What family unit you grew up in. There's also this study being done about like what language you learn first also changes how your brain develops, because there's certain languages where you have to listen a lot more to know what the person is saying. For example, like me having grown up with Russian as a first language, the humor is extremely dry and sarcastic. And I feel like that's why sometimes I say things in English that are very dry and sarcastic and people think I'm just being a bitch. And I'm like, no, I'm being funny. Haha, it's sarcasm. And they're like, are you sure? Are you sure you're not just being a bitch? I'm like, no, I promise. I'm being funny. I promise.